What is up, guys? Rice Vlogs back with another video. Hopefully you guys are as excited as me for this one. Today's gonna be a banger. We got some brand new coilovers we're gonna be putting on the car. So without further ado, I'm gonna show you guys what I picked up. We got ourselves some Silver's Neomax coilover system. So this is gonna be a front coilover set, a rear shock, and then a spring replacement set with all height adjustment, 24 clicks of dampening, and everything of that nature. So I'm super excited to get the car lowered today, get it sitting pretty, feeling a lot better with some better handling and, you know, tighter suspension if I want it, or comfortability when I need it, things of that nature. And then, you know, of course, we're going to be putting some wheels and tires on in a later vid, so we're getting set up just for that. You know, going to have some baller fitment, make the car look a lot better than it does from the factory with those ugly, you know, 16-inch, small, skinny wheels and tires, and a super high monster truck, you know, height. So now we're going to be sitting a lot lower, a lot better fitment, things of that nature, and just the car's going to look a lot better overall. Something more my touch, you know, something more my taste, you know, things of that nature. So without further ado, let's just get straight into this vid. I'm going to start showing you guys everything, and we're going to install these mother truckers. So let's get it. Alright guys, so I did already cut this box open, and right away, opening it up, we got some of our keys and whatnot to adjust the coilovers, and then we have some shocks here. We got some shocks there, some coilovers basically here, another coil over there, and then like I said, here some like sway bar links of some sort. I did end up getting the upgraded kit with the coilover covers, just because I know I'll be driving this in winter, and I heard it's definitely worth getting those. And then but then the rear springs with the adjustment pieces. So definitely a more involved kit than I'm used to. Typically I'll get a kit that's just like kind of already put together and ready to go, but it looks like I might have to do some changing over on the shock here because the stock ones are a little different on top, so a little bit more involved. But let's get right into it because I want to get the stuff thrown on the car as soon as I can, so let's get it. So we're here inside the wheel well, and I did already break all these bolts loose just because it makes things a lot easier for you guys and for me. But there's just the two main bolts down here at the bottom. I believe they were, well, I didn't have anything big enough that was metric, so I think I used like a 7/8 or something around there. But it still worked, obviously. Nothing major is going to happen from that. But then up here I had to disconnect this sway bar link, and then down there is the lower portion of it, and I'm assuming the kit that has the replacement pieces are actually going to be these links, because this is really long, and the replacements are significantly shorter and adjustable, so that's nice. So just at low max, we're already a couple inches shorter. Looks like that's about as low as they'll get, which is kind of surprising, but I'm sure it doesn't make that much of a difference. But yeah, so a couple bolts down here, the sway bar link up here. I did disconnect like some of the sensor stuff. There's one here and one here. Well, this was the brake line, but just with this one 14 mil bolt in the back here. And then on top here, the way this cowl is, there's actually 4 little pop pins right along the top here that need to be taken out, which I already did. And then you have to like lift this up to get access to the top hats, which are then like hidden, which is kind of weird because the crappy thing is these coilovers, the new ones, are they have adjustment for camber and things of that nature, which you really can't do too much with these once they're installed. So you kind of have to get them set up perfectly where you want them, and then otherwise it's going to be a pain in the butt to try to adjust them. It looks like it's going to involve taking out this whole black piece along the top here and removing it, if you do need to go in and adjust it later. So it's kind of dire to get them set up right away. But yeah, so there's a nut here And then I already took a nut off of that bolt back there. And then there is another one that's hidden way in the back. I can't even show you guys, but 3 bolts on top each side. And then as simple as that, you would have this all removed then. So I will do that now and show you guys. So yeah, let me set you down. Okay, so as you can see, here is the 2 bolts that I was talking about. Just need to pound those out basically. Wiggle them out. Just like that. This whole part of the hub and everything just drops. And then I only have that 1 14 mil bolt on top left to undo. So I'll do that. Just like that, it's loose and it's out. And just like that, with a little bit of finagling, you can get out your entire old strut. And then now it's just a matter of taking off that lower portion of the sway bar link, and then I'll be able to throw in those adjustable ones quick. So I'll do that now. Okay, so I got the new coilover already installed and, well, hanging here from the top hat, just to kind of see how things are, you know, as based on how they're sitting and everything, and just how I have it set up currently, about halfway between low and high, I guess. It's already significantly shorter than what the factory strut would be, so that is a huge difference. As you can see, like this too as well, the sway bar link, pretty short compared to where that is right now. So I don't know if they give you these actually in the instance that you want to make them longer, but then again, when the body lowers down on its own weight, things are going to become scrunched down as well. So I really don't know what to go off of yet, because I need to dial in my fitment later. But I will just kind of set a basis for everything, kind of set everything a little higher to start, and then I can always lower it, of course. But I don't want to go too low where I run into issues right away. So everything I can tell though by this kit is super high quality. Just the way that things like move, like these collars spin so nice and freely. They have some wiggle, but it's because there's good movement there and good clearance and everything. Just the feel, the look of everything, super high quality, so I'm super happy with that. These are still pretty cheap for this car, to be honest, in the sense of other coilover brands being similar prices. So these run you about $1,200 for the whole set that I got. Like I said, that comes with these adjustable links and then your coils for the front and rear. So that's actually a really sweet deal if you ask me, considering, you know, like BC Racing, that's going to be about the same price. Even like Function and Form coilovers for this car were the same price. So I went with the silvers because I heard that they're one of the best brands. So yeah, this is what I went with, and I'm super happy with the quality of it so far. So I'm going to keep getting things connected here, and then I'll show you guys the rear. So okay, so like I said, guys, I have the front shock all mounted up, and these coilovers had a little piece right here that I had to add. Come on, there we go, to allow to adjust the dampening, but it's like a flexible piece that runs up through a hole in the top here, and then over to the side is where I put it. So if I need to adjust it, I can adjust it there with some clicks. And then I'm now here in the rear taking things apart still. So as you guys can see, we have the shock here that's just kind of hanging here. There's just 2 bolt holes up there, and the nice thing with this is I don't have to take any interior apart. everything is all right there. So boom, boom, 2 holes. And then there's a bolt at the bottom here that I have to take off, but it's kind of interesting because there's a bolt head to it that's like a 10 mil, and then or a 12 mil, and then there's this like 17 mil here that I actually ended up undoing. So as you can see, getting that off, there's the 12 mil. See if it'll focus right there. So there's that, which is the actual shaft. So if you want to unscrew the whole shaft, you can undo that. But then if you want to just undo the shock, there's the 17 mil that I just pulled out there. So yeah, there's that stuff. I took off this upper control arm just because it allows everything to drop down and slack down better. Also, I need to get this huge spring out of here in order to put in the new springs that are adjustable. So I need to get as much movement in here as I can so I can pop the spring out. Not very easy, especially without trying to take apart as much as possible. You know, you want to keep as much as you can together. So I'm trying to get as much slack out of this so I can pop this spring out as I can. Another thing I ended up doing, there's like a camber arm down here that connects the lower portion of the hub back to the subframe brace. So undid both those, so that's loose in there, and that allows for a lot more movement as well. So I'm gonna keep taking things apart and getting things out of here. So I'll set you guys down and I'll be right back. Okay, so I do have the spring out of here now that everything is as loose as it can get, and I did end up getting that shock out of here, which I will take you guys over here and show you a little comparison. Pretty crazy. So here is the stock spring, obviously, and the upgraded spring with the adjustment piece. So that gives me some height adjustment, and then that much smaller, denser spring. Here is the factory shock housing, and then here is the silver's housing. Obviously it's adjustable, and as you might see, I need to remove this upper portion, kind of like a top hat, and replace it onto here. So I'm about to do that now. One thing to note, guys, so if you were to put like an impact on here or something, if you had a more powerful impact, there is a seal tight on, or thread lock on here, but unfortunately my impact just isn't strong enough to just zip this off because of that Loctite, because of the fact that it's probably torqued pretty tight. But pretty much every shock that I've ever seen has a Allen head piece to it, so you can hold this in place and throw a wrench on it. Now if you had like a pass-through ratcheting wrench, that'd be a lot better. Unfortunately all I have is open wrenches, so hold this in place and slowly undo it. And it sucks because I have to be at a certain angle. There we go. I got it loose where that initial part was to get it loose. It's really a pain in the butt though. Like I said, pass-through wrenches or something would help this, but I don't have any, and I don't want to run and go get one because I don't have that much time. I'm trying to get this done as soon as I can, so this is working though. Once I get it close, I can throw the impact on it, get it fully off with a quick zip. I'll try that now quick. And there we go. Now this piece will actually separate. So here's the shock housing of this sort. Then I have this boot that I have to remove because there's a bump stop in here as well. So there's that bump stop in there. Might be hard to see from that view, but anyway, remove that. Now I just have this piece, this aluminum piece that is made for the car. So now I can throw this guy on here. Now the concept with this one is a little different. There isn't an Allen head. But these are so stiff from factory that being brand new and everything, you can just pop this guy right on here and zip it on, and then make sure it's snug and tight. You also can hold in place right here. There's grooves to put like a channel lock or a wrench on there if you have a big enough wrench. So alright, and then this cap was on before, so you can actually put that right back on, help protect everything, and this is ready to get put back in the car as it is. And then, like I said, there's the spring that came out before, and here's just a rubber boot that fits perfectly to the new spring, and this can go in the car. So we'll get to that. Alright guys, so as you can see now, we do have the spring placed in here. Let's see if everything will focus. The lighting is a bit weird now that the sun moved, but we have the spring in here where the old spring used to be. Here is the collar that can be adjusted for the height, and then we have the rear shock placed in here, as you can see. So a nice thing with this is you do have that adjustability up top here, so if you need to, you can adjust the stiffness or the softness of it, and you can adjust the height down here at this collar. So got this placed in here, and there's really not too much to it actually. This was probably about a 3-hour job, with the biggest thing being the replacement of the old parts, you know, having to take them out and then put these ones in. But initially taking them out's pretty decent, and at that point putting them in is even faster. And then from there on you have just the adjustment that takes the most time. So I'm actually going to get the factory wheels thrown on here, and we're going to see how things are sitting based on just my guesstimations of, you know, slightly adjusting this, you know, 2 inches or 3 inches less than what the factory ones were, as well as the front. So we'll do that now and see how things are looking, see how she's sitting. Well, one more thing I want to address before I get these wheels and tires put on is in the rear there is no camber adjustment that comes with these coils. So you just have that natural 2 to 3 degrees when you lower a car that you gain in camber. The front of the car, the strut towers actually have Allen screws that you can take out and slide the shock body at an angle or not. So I did actually move the screw holes, which you can actually see them up there. Right there, the little screw holes. There's a bunch of them, as well as now one way at the front. So when they come from the factory, they're actually really close together, and it's centered up where when you lower these cars with this setup without adjusting them, the wheel will actually still sit flat and straight. But knowing that the rear is going to have natural camber, I added camber to the front. So I gave what I could guess would be about that 2 to 3 degree mark. So I'm hoping that that's going to be correct, because otherwise I have to pull the shock body back down and adjust those screws. And because I can't get to the top of these coils in this car, being the cowl covering them all and everything, you can't just pop that out of the way, because then there's a metal bracket that covers them. So there's really no adjustment that you can get at unless you pull everything apart again. So it's kind of a guess and check or hope for the best kind of thing. So I'm guessing with putting the screw holes farthest apart and sliding it as far as it'll go at that point. I read that that gives you about that 2 to 3 degrees that you need. So I'm doing that, and then if I was running a crazy setup on this, then I could always move that screw back more and push the shock body even farther to give it more camber. I'm sure you can get some crazy camber out of the front, but then you would definitely need to adjust the rear by buying aftermarket parts to adjust the rear. Luckily, you don't need that for the front, and if you're looking for that 2 to 3 degrees that's still usable in most applications, then I would say leave the rear with the natural camber and adjust the front to where it needs to be. So just wanted to touch on that quick. Definitely a nice feature to have in a higher priced coilover setup versus some of the cheaper ones I've had in the past. Never had any kind of adjustment. You just got what you got when you lowered it, which was also fine for a lot of my old setups like the Miata. But anyway, let's get the factory wheels and tires thrown on this and just see how it's sitting height wise. One thing I noticed, guys, that I want to point out, these are the factory 16-inch wheels, and on the inside here you can see they're branded with Enkei, which is kind of neat. Obviously I'm not running these at all. I'm just putting them on for now until my new wheels come in, but I am just saying that that is kind of a neat little feature I never noticed until now, is these are Enkei wheels, obviously partnered up with Toyota. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, we got the car lowered here now. It's looking pretty even across the plane here. I've lowered, you know, the front's about the same lower as rear. So this is about it for now. I do need to pick up some different wheels and tires, as you can see, but I do have a huge surprise for you guys when those come. This will definitely change the look of the car. As of right now though, just lowering a car definitely helps with making that center of gravity and everything lower, helps with handling, things of that nature. I can also stiffen up the suspension now and make it rock solid versus being a lot more squishy and comfortable. And just by having it lower, you can also have a lot better baller fitment and setup. That's going to just make the car look a lot better overall. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for checking out the video. Hopefully you liked it and it was informative enough. If you guys have any questions, make sure you let me know. Enjoyed what you've seen. Everything is sitting a lot better. Like I said, the car is a lot lower. Right now I just took it for a test drive and everything, and I don't scrape on anything actually, so the car is still kind of high in my opinion. Like a major driveway and stuff like that, I expect like a little bit of a front bumper, you know, bottom of it, kind of a, and then that's it, just going up. But I didn't even get that, so it is still a little high for my liking, and I can't really say for sure until I get the new setup for wheels and tires in. But when I do, I'll be able to really dial in that fitment, make it look baller, but still want some practicality. Obviously, I'm not gonna go full blown, like low as I can go, nuts on the ground, static as can be, you know, scraping and cutting everything. But still want to be lower and just looking nice. So I will get back to you guys with that video. We will have some wheels and tires soon. They are coming in the mail, so that's your guys' other excitement to be looking forward to for the next video. But I just want to thank you guys for checking things out again. And like I said, make sure you drop a like, comment down below anything that you guys want to ask or just give me pointers on or mention, you know, that you think I need to work on or improve on. And make sure you drop a sub, because we got plenty of other things coming for this car. We're not even close to being done with this thing. I have so many other things I want to do with it. Plus, once we do get to a good point where I can take it out, show it off, enjoy, you know, other things with car people, then we'll be taking you guys along for things like that. You know, any kind of car shows, meetups, cruises, things of that nature. We're going to be doing it all, doing the most. So make sure you guys subscribe if you want to come along for that journey. And I want to thank you guys again. Peace.